some lip syncs just do not get the recognition that they deserve. And it may be for various reasons. It may not be the most dramatic lip sync of the season. It may be one-sided and not so much a battle. Or even the queen in question that is doing a great performance isn't the rooted for queen. And speaking of a queen that was not being rooted for, let's talk about the first queen in a series of lip syncs that I do not think got the recognition that she deserves in her performances. Akasha. Now, Akasha did some really good lip syncs. And the sad part about her lip syncs was that she kind of had a double whammy when it came to not being remembered, because even if she wasn't disliked by the audience, and I can admit it, I watched the first season and I didn't like her. I had to watch a few seasons to really understand, like, she is a good performer. But also, her opponents doing badly overshadowed her performances. Victoria Parker, being a bit clumsy by Fergie, tripping, stumbling, flipping, fumbling, that became the more talked about thing than Akasha's lip sync in that one. And then when it came to versus Tammy Brown not lip syncing We Break the Dawn by Michelle Williams was more talked about than Akasha killing that lip sync. And then in what I consider her best lip sync, and maybe the best lip sync of the season, Akasha's Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston might be the best one. I haven't gone through all of them in a while, but that one might be one of the best lip syncs of that season. And it got overshadowed by Chanel's stunt. Now, mind you, Chanel's stunt was killer. It was great. Took attention as it should have, and it sent Akasha home. And granted, Akasha more than likely would have went home regardless, because third time in the bottom, but it doesn't take away that she did a great performance that night. And it does not take away from that, because she is a killer fucking queen, and that should be shown because she is wonderful. Next, we're going to get into Alexis Mattel. Now, Alexis Mattel is a great dancing queen, and her first lip sync was Knock on Wood. Now, granted, this lip sync is a bit sad for me. It is the lip sync that sent home Stacey Lane Matthews, and that is very upsetting, but her dancing was out of this world, and she took off her shoes. That's a big sin. And her outfit was ugly, but it was a bottom two, so that outfit was gonna be ugly in the first place. Her performance was everything. She stepped, tiptoed, and kicked all over that stage. She really dominated that stage. And Alexis Mattel really gave a lot of good lip syncs throughout the entire season. This isn't even about best lip syncers. It's supposed to be specific lip syncs, but let's talk about the other lip syncs. When she did against Shangela to the Fantasia song, it was so emotional, it was so powerful, and it worked. And then even when Yara Sofia was on the ground sobbing, go watch that back. Alexis was turning it. Alexis was on her side of the stage turning that shit, and it's funny, but she probably would have stayed regardless of the fact that Yara had a breakdown, because Alexis was performing really well, because she's a great performer. But speaking of Yara is another great lip syncer, and the lip syncs I have for Yara are the ones she didn't participate in. Go back, rewatch the lip syncs. Every single lip sync that Yara Sofia isn't participating in, she's in the background, in the backstage, fucking lip syncing and performing and dancing just as if she was on stage. We see some queens get into the music as you do when you're listening to a good fucking song and watching a performance. Yara Sofia is acting as if she's on stage, and that just goes to prove that she loves to perform. And you see this in All Stars 1 too. She's in the background, but also you see it when her teammate Alexis was performing on stage, and Yara was the only one to touch the button, because she just loves to perform. And this was a side note, but I fucking love that bitch for it, because that's a queen that loves to perform. Can't knock a bitch that does that. Next lip sync I want to talk about is, quite frankly, this one shocks me the most that it's never discussed, because I really do not see this one ever in any context, and it's one of the best lip syncs ever. It's one of the closest lip syncs ever too, and that is Milan and Kenya Michaels doing Vogue by Madonna. I never see this lip sync discussed, and maybe I'm disassociated from Drag Race fans because I feel like they're all gonna disagree with me, which since doing these videos I realize is not the case, but I really never see people discuss this. And it was so close, it was so high energy. It started with Milan on her fucking head, and they would match each other on moves, and they would they would dance with each other, they would mirror each other, and we really did not know where this one was going to end. Like, I never really seen Milan discuss as, like, she wasn't like a lip sync assassin. Like, I never see her discuss, at least not in depth as compared to, you know, later lip sync assassins, because her lip syncs were everything. She Swiffered the floor with her taint. Do we not remember that? How did we forget that? Yeah, granted, her looks were a bit more masculine. She would take off her wig, she would take off her dresses, you know, sure. Maybe I should have done this one because I'm going to talk more about it apparently. She fucking lip synced to that Pink song while putting on black liquid lipstick, and it was flawless. It was perfect. Not a fucking drop anywhere not on her lip. How did the bitch do that? How the fuck did that bitch do that? That's how good of a lip syncer she knows. She knows how to put on lipstick while she's fucking moving her lips. I can't even color within the lines in a coloring book, and she fucking did that while it was moving? Ooh, honey, it's just, you know, I just don't see it discussed. Especially, and the Kenya versus Milan one is just, it's a battle. It's like a true battle, and neither one wanted to go home, and they both killed it, and either one could have stayed, and it was completely justified. If there was ever a time for Shantae, you both stay, it was that time. So this next one might be a bit personal. I don't know, but I feel like it's a good lip sync. I feel like it's an excellent lip sync, and I have discussed it with people, but I never actually seen people talk about this lip sync without my interjection. I have to force it down people's throats, basically. But it's Jade Jolie versus Coco Montrese, So Excited by the Pointer Sisters. Now, first off, that's an excellent song choice. You know, it's high energy, perfect dancing song, and that's what they do. They are very high energy, and they're great dancers. Granted, Coco, even though I'm biased towards Jade, Coco was winning that lip sync throughout the entirety of it. But even Coco mentions that, like, you cannot underestimate Jade because Jade wants to stay here. So you have to do that. And, you know, you don't see that. You see, like, Detox saying, you know, I'm going to win because I'm better. Not I'm going to win because I'm going to fight for this shit, which is what Coco was doing. And, you know, it just made for a great lip sync. And one reason that I remember this lip sync in particular, especially on season 5, is at this point, remember, at this point, it was very different show. They would basically tell you from the minute the lip sync started who was going home. It was very clear. There were a few exceptions, like Kenya versus Milan. This one in particular, I was like, I'm quite surprised that they're not going like, oh, Jade's gonna go home, because it was clear that Coco was winning, but Jade was doing really well too. And it's so weird that they didn't go, oh, like, have one of the queens clip in and go, oh, Jade's not doing as well as Coco, which they do for literally every other lip sync. Every other lip sync in the history of the Drag Race, they usually do that shit. So I don't know, that I think that might be the reason why it sticks in my head so much, because I specifically remember that with this lip sync, that they didn't do that. But I still think it's a good lip sync, and I don't think people talk about it nearly enough. Jade's outfit was horrible, and so was Coco's, but the lip sync was flawless. As we get into the more recent seasons, it seems it's going to get harder to find those lip syncs that people haven't really talked about. So I'm only going to do up to season 7, because I feel like season 8 and 9 are so, like, kind of picked apart that, like, every lip sync, even if it's not a good lip sync, like, I don't think Cynthia and Farrah's lip sync is good. Even that lip sync is discussed because it's like, who would have won? Farrah would have won. So you may have seen them, but they're not nearly talked about as the more popular lip syncs of those seasons. So Darienne Lake. I think Darienne Lake might be the best lip syncer we've ever had. Straight up, might be the best lip syncer. Can she perform every song? Probably not. But can she kill every song that she can perform and dominate any queen? I really think she can. And her Point of No Return lip sync, I would say, is the best lip sync of that season. I'm not even that partial to Darienne Lake. I thought she, was funny when she was funny, and she did bad when she did bad. But Darienne Lake on this lip sync is incredible. It's amazing. It's so on point. One of the tightest lip syncs we've had. She did something that I can't believe took 6 seasons, which is, during the instrumental of a song, do what literally every queen does on a regular drag show stage, does during the instrumental of a song, and grabs tips. She's the first one to take imaginary tips from imaginary people. I don't know how that took 6 seasons, but she did it, and it was funny. It was so good. It was so tight. I do think it's better than every Trinity K. Bonet lip sync. I do think it's better than April Carrion as Selena Gomez. I think it's better than than Laganja and Jocelyn's double split at the same time. So why isn't this one talked about? Usually I feel like Darienne wasn't liked at this point. She did beat Ben de la Creme, which people kind of still don't want to admit that she did. And Ben de la Creme was going to get eliminated, but RuPaul just changed her mind at the last minute. I don't think it was at the last minute. I think she planned this from the very beginning. But it's just, I don't know why this lip sync in particular, like, I just don't see why this one isn't talked about, because it's such a good lip sync and she's a great, like I said, I'm completely okay with people disagreeing with me saying that Darienne Lake might be the best lip syncer we've had. I'm not saying she's a great dancer or whatever, but she really is a great lip syncer. And you can fight me, I don't care. That particular lip sync has given me so much life. And yeah, it ended with her wig a little further back than she anticipated, but it was still everything. Now, season 7's pick. I don't want to say it's racism, but it might be a little bit of racism. And also, Kennedy and Jasmine Masters were not that well liked. And I don't want to say they weren't well liked because it was racism, but it was probably racism. Actually, I will straight up say it was racism. People were racist. And with that being said, I saw people actively ridicule this lip sync. And I'm like, this is one of the best lip syncs we've had that season. Like, what are you going to compare it to? Miss Fame and Pearl? Seriously? This lip sync was so good. I was going to cancel by Kylie Minogue. First off, Jasmine's dress. That dress. I would have kept her in the competition for that dress. That dress was literally everything. Yeah, her beard was non-existent, but that dress was so good. And the performances, I'm just going to say right now, the reason a lot of people don't like this lip sync, and I'm going to say it, is because no one did a fucking split. No one did a death drop. No one shablamed on the floor. And that's not what stage presence is. Yeah, it's entertaining and all hell, but if that's what you want, okay, fine. All the more power to you. But it's not what you need in a lip sync performance. And, the people that think that every lip sync needs that or needs a reveal or needs something, those are the same people that think Aja beat Nina in the lip sync. It's just not true. It's not accurate. This lip sync is so good. And, this is going to be a tangent, but we all know that if I were a drag queen and my drag name would be on a tangent. I just... There was a lot of things that fucking annoyed me when this lip sync came out because people were so stupid. People were quite idiotic, frankly. And I remember people linking this clip of Trixie Mattel performing I Was Gonna Cancel and being like, honey, this is how you lip sync and this is how you do this and all this shit. And I'm like, this is probably one of the reasons why I really did not like Trixie Mattel during her season, because her fans were delusional. It's like you're gonna say this lip sync's not good because Jasmine did those fucking squats on the floor. First off, have you ever done a squat in a heel? Secondly, have you done a squat in a heel in a full-length gown? Have you ever done a squat in a heel with a full-length gown that's fully stoned and is probably really fucking heavy? I don't think you have. That's fucking difficult. Also, Kennedy spun around more than fucking Wonder Woman, and I feel like Wonder Woman gets a little bit dizzy each time she turns into fucking Wonder Woman. So, no, I don't think so. What they did was fucking difficult. They were in full fucking heels. They had fucking, at least Kennedy had hair on her face. I don't think it's comfortable. They're fucking tucked, and all fucking drag queens go through a lot of shit. And, it fucking annoys me when, these little fucking can't talk shit on a drag queen when there's no fucking point to it. Like, yeah, a split is great, but a good lip sync is a good lip sync, and this was a good fucking lip sync. So I'm not gonna take that. Calm down, take a breather. We're gonna continue on. But speaking of splits and Davenports, let's get into this last one. Now, this last one is a lip sync that is talked about, but it's usually talked about in context to another lip sync, which is Kennedy Davenport's Roar lip sync. And we're talking about Sahara Davenport's Carry On by Martha Wash. Now, there's so many layers, especially today compared to what it was when it first aired. How when RuPaul introduced this lip sync song, she introduced it as a song that she listened to and is dedicated to her mother, who passed away from cancer. And since, the airing of this episode, Sahara herself passed away since then. And it's just, this entire lip sync was so poignant and so fucking beautiful, and her dancing is out of this world. She's great. And of course, she jumped off the fucking stage. And I only ever see it now in context to Kennedy Davenport jumping off the stage. Granted, before that moment of Kenny Davenport, I did see it discussed a little bit, not nearly as much as like Raven's In Vogue or Tyra versus Raven or even Jujubee's Black Velvet. I didn't even see it compared to those, so I just feel like this lip sync is legendary. This is a legendary lip sync. This is iconic before iconic was ruined forever by, everybody and Ubisoft. No one's going to get that reference. This lip sync's incredible. I feel as though it's not talked about enough. It's great. It's wonderful. And it's also to say, like, Morgan did well in this lip sync too. She did pretty good, but Zahara really, she owned it. It was hers. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a great legacy, and we don't talk about this one nearly enough. So those were some lip syncs that I just don't feel get the recognition, that are a bit under discussed. And I really feel that we should pay respect to the queens that really, pull through. And, some of them just we don't talk about them nearly enough. So we're going to end it there. Click whatever thumb button correlates to whatever emotion you may be feeling. Leave me a comment whether you agree with me or disagree with me. And also leave a comment if you feel I left out any lip sync that you thought just, isn't talked about enough. Because I'm sure there's one that you're connected to that, you don't see others talking about. Follow me on Twitter at PixelPixelBoom. Also, I'm starting to do some live streams here and there, so watch out for those. I hopefully will start scheduling them correctly, having less buffering issues, which is what happened with my last live stream, which was kind of a mess, but it was fun at the same time. So watch out for those. And I guess that's it. So I love you guys. I'll see you guys next time, and remember to have fun. Bye, guys.